Previously on Destiny.
Hey there, Twinkles. Heading back into the throne world? Gonna hope Savathun left some tips about beating Xivu you can peek at. Because from where I'm sitting, Eris doesn't have a clue. I don't think you realize how lost you'd be without Savathun's plan. Even dead, she's smarter than you. She had it all figured out years ago. Take the Traveler, seal it away, keep it hidden from the witness, clean and easy. But there's nothing you Guardians hate more than a plan you're not the center of. So you stormed the gates. Liberated your darling Traveler, and put it exactly where the witness knew you would. And now, here we are, with everything pretty much ruined. So go ahead, keep trying to outsmart Savathun, when she's just trying to undo all the damage you've done. The Traveler didn't make a mistake when it chose the Hive. It was fixing the mistake it made when it chose you.
Eris Morn teeters on the knife's edge. The future beyond this point could take a turn for the worst, or remain steadfast. Guardians, during Season of the Witch, we are once again face to face with the Hive, the enemy of our enemy. But my thoughts weigh differently today. As I mentioned in an earlier lore video, 3 worm gods still remain: Yule, and Air. The potential of this is big. What does the Hive logic look like without the witness trying to manipulate it? Or is there a greater force at play here? Welcome back, Guardians. My name is Samlab. Before anything else, it's important for things hidden to be brought into light. Respectfully, my hope isn't for this video to be a repeat or a copy-paste of others, but a continuation of the conversation, propelling it a little further than where we sit right now. Last week in Destiny, we learned that Eris Morn has begun her ascent upwards into godhood, a perilous path jagged with spike and needle. But not in an ordinary sense. Her plan involves defeating Xivu Arath through vengeance. That those who enact it, or those who take it, would provide her with enough tribute to become the most powerful leader of the Hive. Have a listen to this audio log from Ikora Ray.
I can hardly believe the tactical reports I'm writing. Vanguard forces, pursuing tithes to Hive-communed Eris Morn, have engaged Xivu Arath's troops in Savathun's throne world. We are caught between the sister gods of combat and lies, and we're trying to resurrect the one who's caused us the most suffering. Even if we win, we lose. We accepted an impossible bargain. Savathun knew we couldn't defeat Xivu Arath. No one can win a battle against war itself. Eris understands this better than any of us. I know she's working on a plan. But I must still prepare for unexpected outcomes. If her transformation is influencing her judgment, how would I know? What could I even do to keep her safe? Guardian, be careful. We've lost so much to the Hive already. We can't let them take any more.
Ikora's concern is warranted. Everything is out of her control. She can't control Eris, and each step forward appears to be another straight into a trap, set by Savathun to ensure that everyone fails. No real battle has begun as of yet, but according to Umaru, we're playing right into her hands. But I can't help but wonder if Umaru is worried, not because of what will happen to humanity, but also the Hive, and their continued existence hinges on Eris's help. Have a listen to this audio log from Umaru.
Surprise, sunshine. Thought I'd hack this old holotech and say hello. I don't like this whole let's work together plan, but I don't have to. I've got my orders. Let me play something for you.
Umaru, if I am indisposed, bide your time. The witness will force the Vanguard's hand eventually, and they'll realize they need information only I possess. One of them will be open to a bargain. Not Mara again, poor dear. More likely Ikora, or her gloomy little hanger-on Ares. Give them any help they ask. It'll all be worth it in the end. And tell them something clever to make them think that this was their idea.
You get all that, Guardian? Savathun wants me to give you the soft sell. But that's not really my style. So, go ahead. Bust up the throne world. Get as strong as you like. Tithe to Eris until she's fat as a tick. It's all part of Savathun's plan. Oh, you need any help digging your own grave? Just let me know.
With Eris's mapping of Hive logic, it is safe to say that it can be confusing, and honestly at times as vast as the Traveler or the Veil, each channeling their own weave of existence. The sword logic, for the most part, has always been a means to an end, a process engaged to unraveling the truth. I don't think it would be true if I said Oryx got all his ideas from the Witness. We know that the Witness was a voice speaking through the darkness, but it is yet to be clarified what else lurks in the deep within the dark. Yet there are aspects of all Oryx learned before meeting his end. Have a listen to this next audio log from Savathun and Xivu.
I heard you Guardians got a lesson in sword logic today. You think you can defeat Xivu Arath with philosophy? Right. Let me show you something. Savathun kept records, and I took a look at what she had on her sister. Got a recording from way back, just after you Guardians drop-kicked Oryx into Saturn's orbit. Call it a primary source for your little research project.
Our brother is dead. I will take my revenge as he sought for his son. Revenge? For what? The dead deserved to die. That's your own logic. Oryx was a hypocrite, and so are you. He loved us. He made of our deaths a study. And she, who has endured, who sharpened the sword of his defeat, has done the same. She will take up his mantle. When she is paired to her true shape, we will meet her on the bladed path. What a vain child you are. Or it spoiled you rotten. Not everyone wants to be like you. And you won't always get your way. I will test my strength against her brood, and she will prove our logic true.
Do you see what you Guardians did? Do you see what's happening here? Xivu Arath some kind of heir to Oryx. That ritual of hers tied a pretty bow on that theory. This is all part of Savathun's plan. But I can't help wondering, what the hell does Eris think she's doing?
Can you see it yet? You see, the thing that really bothers me about this entire conversation is that Eris Morn believes that her plan is working. And it is, for the most part. However, I fear that there are aspects to this power she is trying to wield which are poorly understood. Xivu Arath believes that Eris has achieved what no one could. When Eris and her fire team entered the Hellmouth, they became players of the Flower Game. Sure, any Guardian who wields the light has entered the game. Except, if no piece is moved on the board, nothing can happen. Even after suffering defeat, Eris clawed her way out of the Hellmouth, and wished to survive, and wished to become more. I believe it was at this very moment that Eris entered into the game with the help of her Ahunkara bow. And she became more than Guardians, and even more than the Hive. Her boundless intellect and machinations lead us to the victory over Crota and over Oryx. But by doing this, Eris entered humanity into the game, defeating one godlike after another. But Oryx and Savathun knew this. Think about it. How do you continue to exist even after you are gone? Legacy is important. But from a Hive perspective, it isn't enough to rely on lineage alone. After all, there are others far greater who may enact a final shape. Have a listen to this lore entry from the Grimoire card titled The 22nd, The High War.
Now, in this time of diaspora, there was a war between Oryx and Savathun and Xivu Arath. Brother Oryx said,
Savathun, do not forgive my betrayal. Instead, take vengeance upon me for what I did at the Dry Moon.
And Oryx made war on her in worship of the deep. Between them stood Xivu Arath, saying, Stop, or I will kill you. War is mine, and I am the strongest. This was how they worshipped. For 20,000 years, they fought across the moons, and they fought in the abyssal plains and lightning places of each other's sword spaces. And they killed each other again and again, so that they could practice death. Such was their love. At last, many moons came to many worlds, and it was time to go to war on life. Oryx said,
I shall establish a court, and whoever comes into this court may challenge me. My court will be the High War. It will be a killing ground and a school of the sword logic we have learned from our gods.
Savathun thought this was a great idea. She made a court called the High Coven. Xivu Arath said, The world is my court, wherever there is war.
Now, here is the point that I believe everything centers upon. Typically, Oryx and Savathun were always way ahead of the game. They understood the principle of their words. If you wanted to take control, you had to speak it, to claim it, to own it, and to control it. But the younger siblings of the Hive dynasty understood this, and Xivu Arath knew its finality. And I'm willing to guess that Savathûn and Xivu exploited their brother's weaknesses. Hold on to that thought. Oryx had already claimed vengeance as part of his court. Logic, or sword, whatever you want to call it, this is the exact same logic that Eris Morn is applying. And if the Taken King had set a trap for anyone knowing what the future would hold for him, that would mean that Eris Morn becoming the Hive God of Vengeance, by extension, does two things. One, make her part of Oryx's family, and two, lock in the parameters for Oryx's court. Guardians, this is bad on a monumentous level. The very notion of Eris collecting tribute in the name of vengeance is directly tithing and operating under Oryx's principles, and his court is the court of high war. It was no mistake that Titan would return to us now of all times. Who knows what Savathûn did? Maybe she put a timer on it. Or she knew that Xivu or the Lucent Brood would try to resurrect the Taken King from the depths of the deep. Here is where the switch happens. Savathûn's court is the court of High Coven. Essentially, this means that she is in control of this situation. I'll put it this way. Guardians empower Eris Morn, who empowers Oryx, who empowers Savathûn, who we are about to resurrect. Remember that the Witch Queen always plays by her own rules. While she appreciates humanity, she doesn't wish to be controlled by anyone. Everything hinges on the success of Eris, and whether her attempts to change the Hive logic into something new work. Because unfortunately, no matter what she does, she is within the school of sword logic, owned by Oryx. And we know now that his sister Savathûn can literally manipulate this outcome. She knew that Eris Morn would be faced with difficulties, causing her and humanity to fall into this trap. With the way that time passes in the Destiny universe, it makes sense. It makes it difficult to predict how successful Eris's plans will be, and how Savathûn's plans could play out. Depending on when you watch this video, we are just under 30 days away from discovering how Savathûn will be revived, and whether Xivu Arath will enact vengeance upon our beloved Moondust. There is great room for this expansion to herald a new beginning for the Hive. If, and I mean if, Oryx returned, it would be predicated on one truth, that the Hive would level up or transcend the Hive logic and move further ahead. Savathûn knew this. Oryx and his sister were always fascinated by the idea of existing beyond the end. Truly, if the Witness and Rock hadn't got to the Krill people first, then the Krill would have been a brighter race and potentially have a freer existence. But as I stated earlier, Eris Morn has been studying the Books of Sorrow for a long time. Perhaps too long. We've heard many a story of those obsessively drawn in by the whispering of the books, which are full of lies. Have a listen to this lore entry from the book In Spiral, titled A Sword and Edge.
A phantasm of the Hive, forbidden and sacred, trespassing into hidden and unwelcoming places. It leaves behind a calcified fragment to mark its passing. Here is what is taught to the Hive, from the basest of thralls newly made. That what can be destroyed must be destroyed. What cannot be destroyed will surpass infinity. Therefore, it is not best to destroy. Only by testing can the truth be found. Only in destruction can the invisible surpass the mortal. Commit the violence and know you are part of that greatest ambition, to create some ultimacy which perfects the universe. That which is built on your sacrifice, with your bones as the foundation and your blood as the mortar, is yet part of you. In this way is transcendence achieved. Every belief creates a heresy. I tell you this in a duelist's regard. I made that heresy. Is it not just? It was my hand that fashioned the Hive from the marrow of their predecessors. And it was my voice that whispered this in time. That as much as the Hive were uplifted by the worms, so too were those worms uplifted by the Hive. If they were weak, they needed us to live. This ancient logic of the infinitely sharpened edge should have left them behind long ago.
Do you think I did not see this? My father's worm did not tell me only of swords. It had vast things to say. Painted the cosmos in shine and gore, truth and fiction. I looked forward with 3 clear eyes and chose the path of the sword to cut open our future, to reach the stars. First one must crawl out of the ocean. It is a question of priorities.
This is not regret. This story I tell, it is but a ripple.
That whisper of ideas beyond swords is here to stay. I have ensured this. Even among us, such things die by slow inches. Excruciating and unquiet. Possibility remains a secret woven into the blank spaces of dogma. That what was defeated may rise again. That the shape of all shapes is not yet settled. That the worms need the Hive more than is reciprocal. Even between the lines of the books of sorrow themselves is this written.
So here it is. The truth is finally revealed after all. It was never about the sword logic, but about finding a finer edge. All of it stems from the need to survive. Apart from the Hive, there were 5,919 species living on the surface of the fused worlds of Fundament. By design, the Witness intended to infect every species in the cosmos with lies. Enough to deliberately create a false narrative against the Traveler. And yet the Witness isn't the darkness, and merely a byproduct. The first children who fell away from the light of promise into the decay of darkness. Instead of attempting to climb out, they wallowed in it, and claimed a deep nature in their thirst for purpose. It is possible that the Witness has sought to do what the Veil and Traveler used to be, and instead of the Veil being one with the Traveler, the Witness has decided to take the Veil's place. Whatever happens next, there is a new champion of the Hive, Eris Morn, the god or demigod if you prefer, of vengeance. By Eris stepping into the seat, she's directly challenging the hierarchy of the Bladed Path from the court of Oryx. Xivu believes Eris that she will take Oryx's place and become a queen. This is where I believe episode 4 of Heresy will pick up from. Let's say that Xivu flees because she cannot win against Eris, or in fact that Eris is stuck in Hive form and cannot turn back. It isn't easy to tell what the penance will be for Eris taking on this mantle, or what the impact from it will have. A way has been found to refine the logic of the sword, and this puts the Hive in new territory altogether. Guardians, our future is laden with all manner of impossibilities, but even in the midst of trouble, there is still hope. Keep on holding on to this hope, and move forward. That's all I have for you today. If you have been enjoying this series, let me know with a comment below. Tell me what you liked and why you enjoyed it. Be sure to give this video a like, subscribe and click the bell to find out when my next lore video goes live. Remember that no matter what you're facing at this moment in time, you can do all things. Stay safe and Godspeed.